Right then, guys, welcome back into the Spooky Shed, your go-to place for conversations around all things weird, scary, and of course, spooky. This is the earliest I think I've ever done the podcast, but it's even earlier for my guest today. So we have got Ashley from Ghost Gossip. So Ashley, welcome into the shed.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. So I'm sure I pre-warned you that I ask all my guests to leave something in the shed with me, did I? Yes, thank God for
Yes.
that. Because there has been a couple of times I've forgotten, and that's always gone badly.
I've seriously been thinking about it since you've asked me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to say?
Well, people have left all sorts of things: piece of coal, piece of a tree, a PlayStation, butt plug, bits of advice. Yeah, exactly. That's always the face everyone pulls.
I have a question. I don't want another mind. I'd have no question.
Yeah, don't ask. It's best
No.
not to. But I always say the weirder the better. So what are you going to leave with me in the shed?
You know, I thought about this over and over, and I was like, okay, what in the world? But then I realized that I'm not going to get into detail, but along the way of my journey as a podcaster, I was given some things, and I swear they're cursed. I would leave that in the shed to get that crap out of my house.
Fair enough. What is it?
It is trash. It's just junk.
Right.
It's in
Fair
the
enough.
garage at the moment because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, because it's like not actual trash, but to me, it just seems it's bad juju. I want it out of my house. So it's sitting in a bag in the garage until I can figure out what I actually need to do with it.
Fair enough. Makes sense. Well, I'll take it. I mean, I've already got other things in here that are supposed to be haunted. And people keep leaving haunted dolls, which I'm never happy about because then things freak me the hell out.
Yeah, I'm not a doll. I have friends that love the haunted dolls. I am not one of those. Like, I respect everybody's choices. You do you, boo, over there.
Yeah. So I always say I like the idea of them because they're weird, but not in my house.
Not in the house. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. Right then, so where does your interest in, like you say, the paranormal and all the weird things in life start? Where's it all come from?
Well, I am slightly sensitive, and it started when I was about 13 years old, and I started smelling people that weren't there, like past loved ones. And then as I got older, I started seeing some things that I couldn't explain, started having experiences. And then in 2022, I bought a house that was extremely haunted, had no idea. And my gifts had kind of subsided. I kind of suppressed them as I got older. But when I bought that house, it lit something alive in me. And I was like, I feel like I'm going crazy and I need to talk about it.
Fair enough.
So I started Ghost Gossip.
That's interesting, though, that, like you said, that started when you were like 13. It's not the usual age stuff like that happens. Well,
Yeah,
not through the people I've spoken to anyway.
Well, what is their age that it happens?
Well, typically it's usually as a kid, like until you're about 5 years old. Like from all the mediums I've spoke to, it's usually about 5 or 6 is where, like, because a lot of the mediums I've spoke to have said like everybody has the ability to see stuff and feel stuff, and it's usually around the age of 5 or 6 where majority of people like lose that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting then that yours didn't start until later on. Because
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, when I was like up until I was about 5 or 6, apparently I used to sit in my bedroom and talk to people that weren't there.
I mean, I still do that. I just talk to myself. There's nobody there. Might not even be a spirit there. And I just talk to myself because I'm home alone and I'm just like, la da 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 da, just walking around the house talking to myself. The problem's when I answer myself.
Yeah, that's when you got something to worry about.
Hey, maybe I need friends and hobbies outside of the house. Yeah, I don't know. My grandfather passed away when I was 13. Things might have happened when I was younger than that, and I don't remember them. But I know that when I was 13, I had my first encounter with a past dog that wasn't mine. It was some buddies that I was babysitting, and I walked to their house and rang the doorbell, and the dog barked, and I was like, "Ooh, dog," And they opened the door and there was no dog. And I was like, oh, but didn't think anything of it because I was like, maybe it bites, and they put it away. But at the end of the night, I was like, hey, where's the dog? Because I would hear the dog kind of bark throughout the night, couldn't find the dog. And they're like, our dog died 6 months ago. And I'm like, okay. And then when my grandfather passed away, I wasn't really close with him. So I was really kind of confused. At age 13, you're hormonal, emotional, mean, confused anyway. And then somebody dies. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not sad, but I'm sad. My mom's crying. My dad's upset. I probably should be more upset. And I was kind of beating myself up about it. And about maybe between 1 to 2 in the morning, my whole room was like engulfed in his scent. And it was like he was standing next to me, kind of like, it's okay. So, and then it went from there.
That's weird. The bit with the dog first, because that's, if you just heard it once, you could maybe I don't know, you can play it off
Mhm.
does your mind playing tricks on you, but when you've heard it a couple of times throughout the night, that must have been really weird then. Like,
It
can you
was.
remember how you felt when they said that we don't like, the dog died 6 months ago? I'd have been freaking
Oh,
out, me.
are you frozen? Am I frozen?
No, I think we're alright if you can still hear
Okay.
me.
Okay, I can still hear you. You froze for a second, but I don't know if it's mine. I am in an attic and you are in a shed, so there's no
Mm,
telling what's gonna happen here. But no, I wasn't scared. I was just like, "That's weird." But my dad heard it too, and from what they said, they hear it on a or I don't know if they still do.
mm.
I'm old. It's been a while. But I know they would say that they heard it as well, but they never mentioned it to their guests because they didn't know who would hear it. So they were
Mm.
just kinda like,
Yeah, that is definitely strange. Just the fact that so many people have heard it as well, that is bizarre.
That dog
Mm,
is just there."
definitely.
Unfinished business somewhere.
Yeah, clearly not happy about Summit.
Right? He's got something to say.
So you mentioned there as well about when your granddad died and you could smell him basically, obviously, in your room.
Mhm.
'Cause that's something that a lot of people have spoken to me about recently is, like, scents and stuff. Because that's always I've never really experienced that myself, so it always interests me because I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how, like, how does that work? I don't know, it's just really weird, do you not think?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I know that I smell smoke a lot. I will
Mm,
smell like when we were living in the haunted house, I'd be like laying in my bed and we are not smokers. And all of a sudden, like right next to the bed, it would smell like a lit cigarette right next to me. And I'm like, or we would smell in the basement. I mean, I've smelled roses, I've smelled lavender, I've smelled smoke, most of the time smoke. I've smelled
mm,
skunk. And then the bad one is that sulfa, the rot, the death
mm.
smell. I've smelled that, and it's just like, ugh. It is really weird. It makes you think, like, am I the crazy one? So
Yeah, that's what I'd be thinking. I mean, because I have a slightly skeptical mind still.
mhm.
So, I mean, just to be cheerful about it, if I started smelling things that I know that weren't there, I'd be going, right, brain tumor or something like that.
I'm not even gonna lie. I have asked myself because I was dealing with headaches. I went and got a
Mm,
CT scan just to be sure. Because
mm,
when I said when I was living in that house, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was going crazy. No lie. I was like, things were moving. I was
mm.
hearing people call my name. I was hearing somebody in the morning go, "Hello, is there a woman in my bedroom at 5 in the morning? Daniel, what is going on?" But there's nobody there. The time that he heard it, he's very skeptical as well. The time that he heard it, he shot up out of bed and he's like, "Okay." But yeah, I had Bibles moving. Like, it was another level. I
Mm.
I went and got my head checked. There was nothing there. It was normal.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, I mean, at least there's that.
Yeah. Right. Tell us about this haunted house then. Start
Gosh.
from the beginning.
So I bought the house. A little bit of backstory about the house. It sat vacant from 2018 until 2021, 2022 when we bought it. We are a blended family of 5. We have 3 teenagers. They're now teenagers, but at the time they were 10, 10, and 11. So we do not have triplets or twins or anything, but because we're blended, it feels like we are parents of triplets and
Mm,
we're tired. So when we combined households, we both had houses. So we had to sell mine, move into his, and then buy one and then sell his. It was a whole process. Took about 2 years to do. And we were a family of 5 living in like 1,500 square feet with like 1.5 bathrooms about to like kill each other. And then in 2021, COVID was still going on. And the housing market, I'm not sure how it was over there, but over here, people were going crazy. I mean, houses were flying off the market. They were sitting on the market maybe a day, maybe just an hour. And
mm,
so we could not find a house. So in December of 2021, this house hit the market and it was 5,500 square feet. And it was just space, everything that we could have ever dreamt of. And the price, it was higher than what we wanted to spend, but it was still within our budget. It was just at the top of it. So we
mm.
went to look at it and we were blown away. I mean, it was really weird and it was kind of like a maze. And there were like 32 mirrors throughout the house, like especially in the basement. And it was the most bizarre space. And it looked like it was straight out of 90210, like it was just stuck in the 90s.
Mm.
But we were like, we can make this our home. So I jumped on it and we got the house. Like I was sitting in court the next day and get a text saying, "You got it." And I was just floored because we had put offers in probably on like 8 houses and hadn't gotten any. And so when we moved in, we decided we're gonna sage this house because the energy's kind of like, at the time, I didn't know what I was doing, so I just walked around the house all willy-nilly. "Ooh, bless this house," just
Yeah.
smoking the house all up. My kids are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." No windows open, nothing. Apparently, there's a way to do it, the right way to do it, and I did it the very wrong way. And it was maybe a few weeks, and I started noticing things. It was fairly quickly. And the first thing I noticed was I always felt like I was being watched. I was never alone, and especially in my closet. It was like I just got chills because it was like anytime because I would go change in the closet, and I always felt like in the doorway behind me there was somebody there. I would turn, I mean, expecting to see my husband, but there was nobody there. And then it went to lights coming on, and then objects moving, and then hearing the voices. And it was just so much, so quick. And then one of our children started becoming violent. And she's a little bit aggressive sometimes when she would get upset, and she had a lot going on. And we just sold her house that she grew up in. So we knew she was having probably some depression or sadness. She left the home that she lived in with her mom, so we were trying to give her some grace. But then she threw a cup at our son's head and cracked it open. And then she hauled off and punched my daughter in the face. And it
Shit.
was like, whoa, what is happening? And then, and I don't know how to explain this, but she looked like she was aging really quickly and she wasn't sleeping. She was
Mm.
coming downstairs and she had huge bags under her eyes. And I was like, what is going on? And she wouldn't tell me. And one day, and she didn't know. I wasn't telling the kids what I was experiencing. They were so young. I didn't want to scare them. And I honestly thought it was just me. So one day she came down and we were getting ready for school. And I looked at her and she looked like she hadn't slept in 3 days. And I was like, what's going on? And she goes, I, you, I'm not making this up. You're going to think I'm crazy. I'm like, try me. And she
Yeah.
goes, I'm seeing a man and he was in the corner of the loft and now he's in my room. And last night he was reaching for me. And I was like, okay, okay. So I called one of my girlfriends who's a little witchy and I was like, hey, I need help. There's something in my house. Cause I thought at the time I wasn't talking about it openly. And
Mm.
so I was like, she's going to think I am batshit crazy. Can I cuss on here?
You can say what the fuck you want on here.
Awesome. Yay. So I was like, you're going to think I'm batshit crazy. My house is haunted. I don't know what I did wrong. I tried to sage it and I told her and she said, oh, you fucked up. I'm on my way. So she came over and we started in the basement. And the moment she started, I started to feel like my whole body covered in these like painful full body chills. I mean, top to bottom, like toes all the way to my head. I was hurting with these chills.
Mm.
And it was almost like he was mad. That's how it felt to me. Just like, how dare you try to run me out of here again? And so when we started going through the house and I was starting to breathe normally again. My heart rate was regulating. I wasn't hurting as bad. And I was like, okay, this is working. And she's like, keep going. You just got to keep going. She was extremely calm. Well, we get up to the kitchen. What I didn't know at the time was that he died in the kitchen. I had no idea. The neighbors had told me a little bit about him, but I'll get to that after the story. But I did not know about the kitchen yet. So we get to the kitchen and our sage goes out. And she's like looking at me and she's trying to light it. And we can't get the sage to light again. And it finally lights again. And all of a sudden, I feel like I am having anaphylaxis. I can't breathe. I can't do anything. I feel like I'm choking almost. And I'm like panicking. And she just keeps whispering, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And finally, I'm able to take this deep breath. And the smoke detector in his old bedroom starts going off. And it's on the other side of the house. And I was like, oh my God. And what's really crazy about that is we were standing underneath a smoke detector and that one was not going off.
That is
So
weird.
my husband, being the big, strong man he is, was outside, scared to death, listening to everything. When he heard the smoke detector going off, he's like, what is happening in that house?
Mm.
Because he had no clue. When he came in and I told him, he was like, oh my God. He believed a little bit more after that day.
Yeah, I
So,
bet.
yeah.
Yeah. Just to go back to the start there of that story then. So when your daughter tells you that she's seen somebody in the loft and then she's seeing him in his room. I mean, I can imagine your brain just like fully went into overdrive. But can you remember how you felt then? Like I said, obviously I've got a son that was only 9 months old, but in a few years' time, if he says something like that to me, I'm just gonna be like, well, I don't know. I would not have a fucking clue
We're
where to
burning it
start.
down, selling the house. We done out of here. No, it was because you know what's funny is immediately I could almost envision it in my head. The
Mm,
moment she said it, I was seeing him in my head. I was seeing what she was seeing. I was like, I know exactly. This is terrifying. I know exactly what she's talking about. And
mm.
I wasn't frantic. I went into like mama mode. Like, okay, this thing is messing with my kid. I need to fix it. And that was my first reaction. Like, oh no, oh hell no. You're not
Mm.
gonna mess if you're gonna mess with me, that's one thing, you're not gonna mess with my kid.
Fair enough. The stuff with sage always confuses me, I must admit, because I don't understand how that all works. More specifically, why sage? Because there's lots of other herbs.
I don't know.
It's bizarre to me. I really don't understand it.
I
And
don't either.
nobody's ever been able to give me an answer.
You know, I've heard other psychics say, like, you can use anything. As
Mm,
long as you believe and you have intention and you set the intention and you follow it and you follow through and you truly believe, it's whatever you wanna use. I mean,
mm.
I don't know, but I
I
guess
mean,
because
yeah, maybe it's the way it burns or something. I don't know. It's a strange one with whatever it is.
yeah, I don't know. I
Mm,
don't know, and there's different kinds of sage. There's white sage, there's rosemary sage, there's dragon's blood sage. I mean, like, how do you know
yeah.
which one to use?
So it's why I always have a joke. Like maybe it's why there's not so many like ghost stories around Christmas because of all the stuffing. I mean, I think it's a valid point myself.
My ghost loved Christmas.
Fair enough.
He was very active at Christmas time.
Mm. Yeah. Right. Where were we then? Yeah. You've saged the house again. So did that help?
Yes. It
Like
got a lot better.
massive. Yeah.
It got a lot better. The nightmares, her nightmares were going away. She wasn't
Mm,
seeing them anymore. I did move her out of that room into another room because it was a big house. So we had space to kind of play around with. So we put her in that room originally because it was right next door to my other daughter's room. So they were side by side. So we moved her
mm,
across the upstairs. So the way the house was, on the first floor was the kitchen, sunroom, living room, master, and office. And then you had the basement where our son was and where all the mirrors at one point were. And then on the upper floor, you had like 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a loft. And so where they were, where the girls were, my one daughter was on one side, my other daughter was on the other, and then the loft was in between. So once I moved her out of there too, that seemed to help. Come to find out, I'm pretty sure that room was his bar, and that was where he would hang out.
mm.
So I think he was kind of miffed that there was a child in his bar. He didn't like
Yeah. I mean,
children.
understandable.
Right. But he didn't like women either.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you
he
get
didn't
those
like
people.
yeah, he was kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Well, he sounds it already.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the whole story already from what you've told me literally sounds like a horror film. It's like you've found almost like your dream house and everything, and then all this weird shit happens.
Mhm.
I want to go to the mirrors in the basement because
Um,
that'd have put me off straight away.
I'm gonna
I'd
have
have
to
just
send
been
you a
like, all right,
picture.
no, right, never mind.
I'll send you a picture when we're done so you can see it.
Mm,
What I found out from the neighbors and from his sister, because his sister and I talked up until I sold the house. She was very upset that I sold it. So sorry, but we did not move because it was haunted. I would still live there because it didn't bother me by the time we moved out of there. I was very used to it. It almost felt like a grumpy grandpa upstairs, but
right.
we had to move for the kids' school situation. But when we bought the house, there were mirrors everywhere and they all faced each other. It was ridiculous. Even in bedrooms, there were mirrors facing each other. And it was like, what was he doing? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But from what his sister told me, he was Mr. Universe in the 80s. And he had a
Mm,
gym in the basement where he would train beauty queens in the basement.
sounds dodgy, that does.
It sounds sketchy as hell, but from what he was really big into like the bodybuilding community and people would pay him for training. And he had a
Right.
sauna, he had a tanning bed. We had all of that when I bought the house. It was all still there. The gym equipment had gotten donated to his nephew's fire department.
Mm,
But he said that the whole basement looked like Gold's Gym.
fair enough. I mean that sort of makes a bit more sense than I mean,
Just
because
a little bit. It was still weird in the bedrooms.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Now you've said that actually, yeah, I mean, what Christ, yeah, that's weird. But
Yeah.
because obviously it's supposed to be a whole thing with mirrors, how you're not supposed to have mirrors
Mhm.
facing each other and stuff. I don't know how much of it I believe, mainly because, well, how would you house of mirrors at fun fair sort of thing, you know what I mean? But I still think it's weird, and I still think mirrors are weird anyway.
Yeah. And it always felt like our son would just be super scared in the basement.
Mm.
And there were some other factors going into play with maybe allegedly, I'm going to put it that way, just in case, maybe another parent telling him that we just threw him in the basement and that he was less important, allegedly.
Enough.
Maybe that had something to do with it. But one of the things he would say is, those mirrors scare me. So we were, because there were so many, like, what do you do with 32 giant 4 foot by 6 foot? One was 5 foot by 8 foot. What do you do with these mirrors? Like, we didn't know what to do with them. They were huge. We couldn't give them away. I tried. I tried.
Yeah, and if you believe in that, the last thing you want to do is smash them.
Right. Well, we did break a few, and
Mm.
I mean, and I'm not saying that this was the cause, but we've had a very few, like, really stressful few years, like, horrible few years.
Mm.
But when we were taking them down, I mean, they were the age of the house. The house was built in 1999. And so some of them have been hanging there since. And so when we were taking them down, some of them did break. And it's like, my husband, like I said, he's our skeptic, but here I am. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I wouldn't touch them. When we moved out of the house, we still had all the mirrors. We had put them in a storage room because we didn't know what to do with them. And so the guys that we paid a dumpster, like trash haul people, they
Yeah.
came and they took them all. And I wouldn't touch them. I just stood there and watched, and I was like, all of them got to go,
Yeah, I'd have probably done the same, to be fair, because
just in
it's
case.
one of them things, like I say, with superstitions like that. It's because I don't really know how superstitious I am with things like that. But I'm also not going to do it. Like, I don't know how much
Right.
of it I believe, but I'm not gonna do it just on the off chance.
Just in case. That's
Yeah,
kind of how I
exactly.
felt. Just in case. Like, that mirror, that broken mirror is not going to control my destiny, but
Yeah. You
just
never
in
know.
case. Just in case. That guy right there looks like he can hold that mirror. He looks really strong,
Mm.
sir. So, yeah, the mirrors were so creepy. They really were creepy. When we walked into the house during the tour, when we hit the basement, we were like, what was this guy doing in here?
Yeah, I know, 'cause I mean, like you say, when you say about the gym, it makes perfect sense. But
Yes.
weirdly, I didn't even think of that at all.
No, we
I
were
I
thinking, like,
I just instantly assume, oh, there's something dodgy happening.
we thought that it was some kind of, like, happy massage parlor because we found a massage table.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I was genuinely thinking, like, you were gonna find, like, pentagrams and stuff as well, and like you say, trying to open portals and get into different dimensions and shit with these mirrors or something.
So my philosophy, and I'm telling you, I lived in that house for so long and I felt a lot of different energy coming in and out of that house on a regular basis. And like, I knew his energy. His mom would come in every once in a while, and then my grandparents were there. But like, there would be some dark things sometimes. That house sat vacant for 4 years. And they say when you have vacant locations that are
Mm.
already maybe susceptible to energy, that sometimes it becomes like a magnet for maybe wandering souls. I
Yeah, that
mean,
makes sense.
and I don't know, I didn't test that theory, but just living there, it could be completely calm one day, and the next day, the energy in the house it would feel so oppressive and thick. And I was so used to our ghost, like, I knew what he felt like because I got so used to him over 2.5 years, but it would be something different, something darker, something heavier. And then the other ones would be playful. And so maybe it was all him, but sometimes it just felt like it was almost like a train station. It would just people passing through. It was weird. It's hard to explain if you never were in there, but or even our guests that would come be like, your house feels weird. I'm like, I know.
Mm.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I know what you mean. Like you say, obviously, it's like you say, what one day it can feel bad, one day feel good. To put it in very simple terms, so I can understand that. You said there as well that, like, you were told stuff from the neighbours. Was that just about the gym stuff and that?
About him.
Yeah.
They told me about him, about his personality, about he hated women. He thought, I guess his opinion on women, the best way to put it is they were best left quiet.
Mm.
And I'm not one of those. So he also did not like children. He did not like animals. He would, if just, they kind of just told me about how he was. And he was a big man. We're
Mm.
talking like over 6'1", 6'2", bodybuilder. So physically domineering over most people. And that he would use his size to intimidate, which is funny because the one time I saw him in I was wide awake when I saw him. He presented as a shadow about 7 foot tall. So they told me he would use his size to intimidate to get his way. And when I saw him, he was massive.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. There's a
Never,
lot
I
of weird
never, I just,
things.
I never understand like I've never understood them type of like views on, like you say, women and children. It's like over here, like we literally still have like they're called like social clubs, basically, just like a bar, really. But the places where you have to be like a member of and stuff, and they still have days where women aren't allowed in, and I'm just like, well, why would anybody want that?
Women make it fun.
Exactly.
Who wants to just
It's just
hang around with a
weird.
bunch of dudes all the time?
Exactly. It's just
Well,
it's just bizarre.
what I've learned about him, and I don't know this for sure, but I think there was so he lived there. This makes it so much weirder. He built the house in 1999 for him and his mother. Yes. So in the house, there were two master bedrooms, one on the first floor, one on the second. His mother lived on the first floor and he lived on the second, and he ran his business out of the basement. So from what I took from the stories of the neighbors was there were some mommy issues and he blamed his mother for his failed relationship. So I think that's their, psychology. When men hate their mothers, they usually will hate women.
Mm.
If
This just
there's
sounds like Psycho now.
I don't think he was normal or sane. I think there was some mental issues there. I think there was some mental health there. But
Mm.
he was angry. He was definitely angry in life just from the stories. I mean, the neighbors, when I walked outside, when we moved in, it snowed 7 inches. Like the day we had the moving
Nice.
truck. And we live in South Carolina. We live in the armpit of hell. Okay. And it doesn't snow here. And we were moving and we were like, okay, well, we got the bed in, we went to sleep. Our kids were with their other parents. We came out the next day and there's 7 inches of snow on the ground. We're like, what? And we walked out and we're walking the dogs. And I mean, neighbors saw us for the first time and they were coming out of their house just to tell me stories about this man. And I'm like, well,
That's
shit.
never a good sign.
No, it's not. You know how many neighbors I've met since I moved in my new house? Two. And they live
Mhm.
next door. And they're the only two people I've met since I've lived here. And I've lived here a year.
Yeah, that's not promising straight away.
Like a good neighbor, you stay over there, okay? But yeah, they came. They flocked to tell me about his personality. Cops would get called because if a toy went on his property, he would immediately like go out and get it and not give it back to the kid. Oh, this is a good one. On Halloween, while people were trick or treating, the mother would be asking the kids, "Which house do you live in?" before giving them candy. Like they just weren't nice people.
Yeah, well, clearly.
The apple didn't fall
Yeah.
far from the tree.
So you said there that he presented himself to you as like a shadow. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. Okay. I had a podcast studio kind of like what I'm in now, except it was in the basement.
Mm.
It was in his tanning bedroom. We had taken the tanning bed out, and actually, my sister has it, and she lives across the street. So I get to still see that tanning bed on a regular basis.
Fair
But
enough.
I painted it. So this room is like purple. I painted it like a turquoise, a deep
Mm.
turquoise. And I put like a wall sconce on the light or on the wall. And it didn't really give off a lot of light. And then on my desk, which was on the opposite side, was a lamp. And I was facing towards the door, towards this wall sconce, and I was editing a podcast. And it was cold in the basement on a regular day because it's a basement. It
Mm.
stays cool, right? Well, it got really cold, like chilling cold. And I kind of look up and I'm like, that's weird. I wonder if he cut the air on because this was towards winter time. So the air shouldn't have been on. And I look up and there is this figure, this giant figure, floor to ceiling. And I see the shoulders and the head, and it moves between the two sources of light. This always gives me goosebumps because I've never seen anything quite like it, especially when I was wide awake, looking
Yeah.
dead at it. There's no mistaking. It wasn't like out of the corner of my eye. It wasn't I was half asleep. I was wide awake by myself, locked in this room. I have a delay.
It's fine.
Okay. Oh, okay. But yeah, so it moved from when I tell this story, by the way, anytime I talk about him, he lets me know he doesn't like it. There
How?
has been, I don't know. Some days I have been talking. I was doing one podcast and I was like forgetting my words as I was talking. And it was like my tongue was going numb. It was the weirdest experience. And that only happened one time where it was like I could not remember my words. And then my
Right.
body started trembling. But I was actually telling the story in the basement in that room. It is,
That is really weird.
you are looking at me like I'm crazy. I swear.
No, I'm looking at you like that's how I am most of the time, but that's just the ADHD, which I know you have as well. But
I
obviously,
do.
if that's only happened, if that's the only time it's happened to you, then it definitely isn't that.
Yeah, it was really strange. I was on an episode of the Real Hauntings podcast, and it was the
Mm.
first guest podcast that I've ever done, and I was telling about my ghost, and like I was like forgetting my words. I still have the message that I sent the host afterwards, and I was like, I am so sorry if I sounded like a bubbling idiot because like I was forgetting my words, and I was feeling so weird. So
Could be nerves.
could have
If it
been
was the first
nerves,
one you'd done,
could have been, but I mean, I was a
it
podcaster
also
at the
could be something
time.
else.
Hmm?
It also could be something else.
It could be, you know, I had my own show at the time, so I don't know what it could have. I don't know. I don't
Mm.
know.
I
It
don't
was,
know because I'm just thinking now. I remember the first time I was a guest on somebody else's, and even though I'd done so many of my own,
yeah.
I did feel a bit weird.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah.
you just never know.
Mm.
It was just really weird, but when it started to glitch while I was talking about that, that's why I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
man, wouldn't surprise me." When you live in it and you experience it for years, really changes the way you see things that happen around you when you're talking about it or when somebody else is talking about it, or
Mm.
it really does. It makes you wonder like, "Uh-oh, is something about to happen now?"
Yeah, definitely. It's like so. I have my own little catchphrase of because like I still have a slightly skeptical mind. So now I say that I believe in things, but I don't know what I believe in.
Mhm. That's a good
And
one.
then yeah, and then my friend Tommy, he has a little catchphrase of when you look into the paranormal, it looks back at you, which
Mhm.
I am really starting to believe now.
That is okay. So my grandmother is like my spirit guide, and you've talked to mediums, so we all believe we have our spirit team and our spirit guides. Well, my
Mm.
grandmother is like my strongest one, and there was some stuff going on in the house this week, and I'm not sure if you saw my post, but like some smacks. It sounded like somebody clapped in my bonus room. We were hearing taps all in the walls, and I'm like, okay. It was every room I would walk in. It was like it was following me throughout the house. So I got my Spirit Talker app out, and I know they're for entertainment purposes, but sometimes it says the most random things that make so much sense.
Mm.
And I was like, who is that making that noise? And it comes up, Betty. And that's my grandmother's name.
Yeah, that's what.
And I was like, okay, well, all right, hi, Bet. And I turned my app off and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Because that's the thing with I guess with the apps and obviously the devices and stuff are like that. And I mean, like especially like the word boxes you can get.
hmm
It's like what are the chances of that just being
So let me tell you another story about the house when I was selling it. He got really sad when we left. Like the energy changed from kind of like a annoyed, oppressive to lonely because the house sat on the market for like 8 months before I sold it. And I went over right before I closed on the house and I had made this little like warmer, like a scent warmer. I had made it myself for the new owners and I was smelling it and I had my spirit box running just because when I was there, I always did because it was so interesting what it would say. And I was smelling it and it said, I really like that smell. And
that's
I was
weird
like,
as hell. No, that's too much of a sentence.
I know, I know. I was like, holy shit. And then I was looking out the back window and we had gutted his backyard and it said backyard. I'm in the backyard. And I was like, okay, so I understand technology, I understand the phones, but this thing is not watching me. It didn't
Mhm.
know that I was sniffing a warmer. It didn't know I was standing looking at the backyard. Like it is just the things that it says sometimes I'm like, oh my God. And then when I was leaving, it goes, bitch.
No, that's not.
I'm like, all right, yep, that's him. Bye. Well, bye.
Jeez, God,
Why, bitch?
that's funny.
I said it to my husband. I was like, yeah, well, I don't know if he's happy or if he's sad.
Yeah, he sounds like a person who was only happy when he wasn't happy.
Yes, he was only happy if he was making other people unhappy too.
Yeah,
So
clearly. But that's what was weird there straight away. Like you said, they said the energy in the atmosphere changed
mhm.
straight away. Like you say, when you decided to sell the house, and it's just like you're pissed off that we're here, and now you're pissed off that we're going. Like make your mind up.
Make up your mind. Like, come on, you can't have it both ways. But I think he got used to us because he
Mm.
didn't really have family. He wasn't married. He didn't have kids. His mom, his mom was his mom. I think she kind of was pretty strong-willed and aggressive and probably outspoken. And so, yeah, we were 3 kids and husband, wife, and 2
Mm.
dogs, 2 cats, and always into something. And I think when we left, I think, he's like, "Oh, well, now I'm alone again."
Which, well, I mean, I was going to say it's a bit sad, really, but given the type of person he is, it's not really.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't come over. I'm good. I'm good." He's been here a few times. Like, he's come and visited. I have his desk still. I did, before I left, I was like, "Hey, I'm taking your desk with me." I'm the crazy one. I talk to my spirits. I'm like, "Hey, I'm taking your desk with me." And so every once in a while I'll feel him kind of move through, but he doesn't stay here. He goes back. He's attached to that house. That's where he wants to be.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Mhm.
So just to finish off on obviously on the house then. So because you mentioned at the start, obviously your daughter got quite aggressive and stuff. So once you done the saging and like obviously like cleanse the house, we'll say, did that just stop straight away once you started sleeping better then?
No, it got better. They left my kids alone. But the sleep, it's funny that you say sleep because I started having sleep paralysis after that.
Oh, we
And
need to talk about that. Love that.
I've never had sleep paralysis before and I haven't had it since, only in that house. The
Hmm.
first time I had it, you know who Sam and Colby are?
Think
They're
so.
they're YouTubers, they're big paranormal YouTubers. They are
Hmm. Rings a bell.
yeah. So I was having a dream that they were investigating my house and they were in the attic space of my daughter's room because my daughter's room was his bedroom at the time or
Yeah.
was his bedroom when he lived there. And I was in there and I was looking at them. And this is in my dream. It was very real. I remember it like it just happened yesterday. And I felt something super dark in there with us, like in the attic space. And I looked at it and I felt like it was targeting my daughter. And I was like, and this is my other daughter, the one that
Hmm.
hasn't seen him. And I was like, And I was like, if you want to go to somebody, if you want to go at somebody, you're gonna go through me. And then I remember it was like one of those movie moments where it's really fast where you're getting like sucked back and I'm watching the whole house like fly past me. And then I open my eyes and I'm in my bed and I'm frozen and I cannot move. And my eyes are darting and shifting around the room. And I remember like I couldn't see anything, but I could feel this dark presence over my bed standing there, like looking down at me. Like, you wanted this. You told me to come at you. Here I am.
Yeah.
And so I'd never had it before, but something in me said, pray, pray. And so I tried to say the Our Father. And then I forgot the words to the Our Father. And I kept saying, Our Father who art, and I would get there and then nothing. And so I just kept going and going and going. And finally, I was able to kind of stumble my way through the Our Father. And when I said amen, I went back to sleep and it was gone.
It's different compared to other sleep paralysis stories that I've heard, and very different to mine. The fact that it's almost like you knew. Obviously, you were in a dream, and then you felt yourself coming out of the dream. That's definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
My first one was very stereotypical, really. Mine was first time I had it. I think I was about 11, 12, 10 at the youngest. It was when 'cause me and my brother used to share a bedroom, and he's like 3.5 years older than me. Yeah, so so it'd have been when I was like 10 or 11, because he'll have been at an age when he needed his own space, if we know what I mean.
I got you.
And mine was so my bed used to point straight at the bedroom door. Well, it was said bedroom was basically a cupboard that I got given, and I woke up. We used to always leave the light on outside the bed of my bedroom because didn't like the dark, and I was on
Right.
my own for the first time. Don't like it. And I woke up. The first and only time I can really remember waking up, like actually on my back, head on my pillow. Normally I'm all over the place. And there was just like I always say like a Grim Reaper type figure stood in the doorway. And that was weird. But every other time that it's happened to me since, I wake up and it's always to my left hand side and it's just like a black mass. There's no actual shape to it. But I never feel bad like I did with that first time,
Yeah.
which I always think is weird because I never get a bad feeling with it anymore. It's just a case I wake up, that's just there, and I can't move for a couple of seconds.
Wiggle your toes.
Mm.
If you wiggle your toes, that helps bring the sensation back to the rest of your body or your fingertips. It's weird how that works, but
Mm.
mine. So that first one was the scariest for mine as well. Like it was different. But the second time, I still felt the oppressive, like scary thing,
Yeah.
but I was able to say the Our Father all the way through, and then I went back to sleep. The third time, my husband heard me screaming, and he put his hand on me, and that took me out of it. And then the last time I went, "Not tonight, leave me alone." And I went back to sleep.
Fair enough.
So I was getting used to him as we went. And I told him, I was
Mm.
like, "Stop fucking with my sleep."
Yeah.
I had to sleep in his room once because that was turned into our guest bedroom, and he was so mad, and I swear I did not see him. I could not see him, but in my mind, I could see him standing at the foot of my bed like, "You told me this is my room. You told me that this was my room, and here you are and sleeping in my room." I hated being in that room. We investigated the house after we sold it, and that room was the most active. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sleep and like sleep paralysis and everything is just weird because I always talk in my sleep and I don't understand it. Some
Your
of the
brain
things
is always
some of the
going.
things I've come out with in my sleep are ridiculous.
It's the ADHD. My daughter has really bad ADHD, and she talks in her sleep. Yeah,
It
a
is
lot.
funniest one that I can tell you because this still makes no sense to me. So my partner woke up. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. She woke up, rolled over, and I was just sat on the end of the bed. Just said, like, "Liam, what you doing?" And apparently, I just turned around to her and said, "You can't put cheese on that." I
Okay.
don't even like cheese.
I don't even eat it.
Exactly. I'm fucking lactose intolerant.
Wait, so you're not one of those rebels, lactose intolerants, that are like, "We can't eat cheese, but we're gonna eat it anyway because cheese is delicious"?
I still like eat pizzas and lasagnas and stuff, but I don't like
Okay.
cheese on its own. I like cheese on things. Don't like cheese on its
Okay.
own.
Alright, alright. Okay, you're still one of us. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's so I don't know what the hell I was talking about then, but I still find that funny.
Yeah, that is funny. My daughter sat up once. We were traveling, and so we were sleeping in the same bed, and she sat up, put her hand over her heart. She said the whole Pledge of Allegiance, and then she laid back, and I was like,
I used to sleepwalk all over the house as well. That wasn't funny because I used to do things that well,
"Oh,
I used to piss everywhere basically.
okay."
Yeah. Don't know why. I was asleep. I never remember any of it. This is just what I've been told.
You just thought you were in the bathroom.
Well, I hope so.
You were dreaming. Yeah, I
Mm.
think that's happened to my husband before, but I think there was alcohol involved.
Yeah, no, see, I was like 13, so
Yeah, you were just
I
sleeping
mean,
really hard.
to be fair, over here I could have been drinking by then. So,
It's true.
mm.
Different drinking age there.
Yeah, it's well, I mean,
It's not
it's
13,
not
but
13, like, but yeah,
it's still younger than 21.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, so right, so is that pretty much that house covered then?
Yeah, there was other
So
things, but, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
nothing like those. Those are the big things.
So have you had any other experiences then in the house you're in now or anywhere else, or that
Oh,
really
yeah.
stand out?
Oh, yeah. So my girls just lost one of their best friends to suicide.
Oh shit.
And yeah, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago this week, actually. And, it's been tragic. I mean, my girls are 13, and their friend was 13.
Mm,
And I told them, I was like, "She loved being here, so just keep an eye out. You might feel funny, you might feel her, you might notice lights coming on or just maybe little glitches in technology or whatever." It was the next night, my youngest she couldn't sleep, she's been super upset, and she felt somebody sit on her bed, and she thought one of us had come into the room, and she turned over and nobody was there. I was writing this week's episode on Thursday of last week, and I felt somebody playing with my hair and just kinda doing this, and so she used to always play with my girl's hair on the bus, and so
that's
yeah, it was just right here, just right at the top of my head, and I could feel
mm,
the tingles, and it was just I was like, "Okay." And then somebody touched my son's head, so I think she just went up to him and went, "Boop." So, but she's been around. We have a house ghost, his name is Al. He has made himself known a few times. We have our Alexas turn on out of nowhere, blasting music, and I'll be home alone, and I'm the only one that can control the Alexas from a phone.
mm.
So, if the kids aren't here, they have no access to them. We've had TVs come on, and we've had lights do weird things, like, we've had some stuff happen here, but it's nothing like the other house, nothing.
Yeah, that's almost it's strange, but it's also kind of nice.
Mm. Yes,
It
it's
says,
comforting.
yeah,
With our friend, it's comforting because
mm,
she's, I think when you deal with death and you talk about it all the time,
mm,
especially with my podcast and, with yours, you tell spooky stories, you talk to people about different things, but with like mine, you're talking about death nonstop because ghosts and spirits come from death. you start having a different perspective on it, and it doesn't feel so final depending on what your beliefs are. I'm very spiritual, and I have had so many experiences with my grandparents and my best friend that was killed in high school, and I've had so many experiences that for me, death isn't final. Like, it's final
Yeah.
for their bodies, but with their spirit and their energy, because I've had so many experiences, I still interact with them. It's just very different than when they were alive.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say, because it's the whole scientific argument, if you want to go down that
Mhm.
route about how obviously we are energy and energy can't be destroyed and that sort of
Right.
stuff. So, like, I don't know what I believe in. It's like I say, that's my catchphrase. So I have no idea what's going to happen when anything happens to me, whenever that might be.
Right. Have you ever had any experiences with the paranormal, like a ghost or a spirit or anything like that? Like firsthand?
A couple that could maybe be. So the two big ones that stand out recently. So last year when it was my birthday, so my birthday's in July, and it was like 2 or 3 days after my birthday. Obviously, I got like loads of cards and stuff off people, and put them up on the shelves in the living room, mantelpiece, windowsills, all stuff like that. And I remember, like I say, so 2 days after I come downstairs, and bear in mind, obviously, there's other things
Mhm.
on these bloody shelves and stuff, candles and cactuses. Can't get rid of the bloody things. And every single birthday card was on the floor, but nothing else. So that was weird.
That is weird that all
Yeah,
of
that's
them.
almost like poltergeist shit.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I've had poltergeist stuff. When stuff fly off shelves, it is a weird experience, and it's like, "Did you just throw that at me?"
And then the most recent one, so I'd recorded an episode of this, and the guest who I was recording with, Michelle, she had a haunted doll sat behind her. And then when I listened back to the episode, there's something there that none of us heard at the time. And it's almost like a little voice. To me, I'll send you it when we're finished, and then you tell me if what you think it sounds like it says. Anyone who's listened before will know what I think it says.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so that comes up on the recording, and like must have listened back to it. I'm not joking, about 20 times, and it's like, "Hey, this is freaking me out now." So close my laptop. Right, that'll do for tonight with the weird shit.
That will
So
do.
then I was sat there watching telly for about 5 minutes. My partner was on night, so it was just me and the baby in the house, and he has to sleep with a white noise machine because it's the only way he'll sleep on his own. And I started to hear it, and I was like, "Oh, don't say it like I've fucking hell, the thing's broken. The volume's just going up and up and up." But then he just kept louder and louder and louder. I was like, "What the hell's going on with that?" So then I went upstairs and his bedroom door had opened. But the thing is, we always, because I'm loud anyway, like I say, it's only a small house, so
Right.
we always keep all the doors closed, especially when
Right.
he's asleep, just so nothing wakes him up. And he has it's like a hook thing, and it's got loads of baskets on the back of the door. So you have to actually properly push and pull the door to open and close it to get in there. So there's no way it can just like pop open. So
Yeah.
that was
That one gave me chills. That one chilled me up. Mm-mm. It's almost like it's like a when it comes to kids, it makes me wonder sometimes if it's like past elderly type, like grandparent checking in, like
Well, the funny thing is, so my mum's very much into like mediumship and stuff, and
Mhm.
my partner was round my mum's house one day when I was at work, and she got really strong feelings. So my partner's brother is no longer with us, and my granddad is no longer with us, and she told my partner that my granddad and her brother both come to our house all the time. So
Oh,
I'm
my
hoping it was one of them two and nothing that's going to kill us.
nothing. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't think it's anything that's going to kill you. As
You
long as
never
it's not
know.
the living. As long as it's not the living. Okay, I'm more scared of the living than I am the dead.
Yeah, true.
People be crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, listen to me.
exactly.
I sound batshit crazy over here.
I think we all do that's why we do this.
That's right. That's right. That's why you find people that do it too, because they make you feel a little bit better, except when they're staring at you like you have lost your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had something happen as a family in this house. We were watching Beetlejuice of all the movies, the new one, and we were on the couch and all the animals were with us, and we have an automatic trash can, which scientifically it can be explained as a glitch or whatever, but our trash can never opened on its own. And so the trash can opened and we all turned and like we're like, okay, where's Mandy? So my dog likes to open the trash can. We've actually had to take the batteries out. But she was sitting next to us and we're like, okay. Well, then our computer was by itself asleep and the screen lit up. So it's
Mm.
almost like something walked behind us, like almost like it was coming into the living room. It was really weird. We were all like, they can be explained away, but none of us were moving. It was just weird. Thankfully, nothing flies off shelves in this house. So, yet.
Yeah, well, that's always a good start.
Yeah, it's a very
But
good term.
there's another one that often happens. So if ever I'm sat on the sofa and I've got my son in front of me, he always like looks behind me and starts like smiling and laughing at something behind me, even though the only thing that's behind me is shoes.
Was the brother really goofy?
Yeah, and so was my granddad, so it could be either of
Yeah.
them.
I can almost see somebody, like, making faces at the baby.
Mm.
Babies and cats or dogs too, when they start staring off past you, it's like, "What you looking at?"
Yeah, well, we've got 2 cats as well, but then again, both of them are idiots, so they're no use.
So, that's funny. So, I have my black cat, and she's actually sitting here.
Literally, all I can see is eyes.
Yes. I just looked over and I saw those eyes,
Yeah.
like, she will s I was loving on her one day, I was just like, "Oh, I love you," and then she started looking, and I started hearing a tap, like, just over me, and she
Mm.
started, like, staring, and then the tap stopped, but she just kept staring, and I was like, "Okay, what do you see?
Mm.
What are you looking at? You're freaking me out a little bit."
Yeah, I've never done anything like that, but like I said, they're literally one of them. It's almost a disgrace to call it a cat because it's useless as a cat. It can't climb up anything. It can't jump on anything. It's fucking useless. And the other one, literally, all it does is just bring dead animals home,
She likes to bring dead animals inside.
and sometimes they're not even dead.
Yes, that
Yeah,
too.
that's great. 1 o'clock in the morning, you're chasing mice around your kitchen,
Mhm. Moles,
and
we
well, and also chasing the fucking cat who was then trying to catch said mouse again.
I had a cat, she passed away last summer, but she brought in a mole and then dropped it, and it was alive, and then watched it, and watched me chase the
Mm,
mole. And she just sat there watching, and I was like,
yeah.
catch the mole." I had to catch the mole, and then the mole fell in the air vent, and I was like, "Oh, great.
Oh shit.
Now it's gonna die, and it's gonna stink up the whole house." It finally came out, and I caught it, but yeah, I know all about the cats bringing live things
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, right then, Ashley. Well, I've really enjoyed this.
Well, me too. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. So before we finish, do you want to let people know about your podcast, what you do, where you are, where they can find you, and all that good stuff?
Well, my podcast is called the Ghost Gossip Podcast. It is all about ghost stories, haunted histories of haunted locations, interview other creators where they tell me about investigating or psychic mediums. I mean, anything paranormal, we gossip about it. I love it. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, just all of the places, Ghost Gossip Pod or Ghost Gossip Podcast. And if you have any stories, I love to hear them. You can send me stories at Ghost Gossip 24.
I actually listened to your newest episode yesterday about all the weird games and stuff. Really enjoyed that.
That one
Not
was
doing any of
fun.
them, but I enjoyed it.
No, me neither. It was really good. Today's episode is really good too. It's about the Old Washoe Club in Virginia City, Nevada.
I'm gonna have to listen to it because I've heard of that and I don't know why I've heard of it.
It's extremely haunted. Like if you
Yeah.
believe in it, there's a lot of weird things that happen there.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Fair enough. Right then, guys, so we shall leave it there. So, as always, go and follow our Instagram page at the Spooky Shed Podcast. The link in the bio there for all the other socials that we do not use, but YouTube channels there, Patreon page, merch store, and all that stuff. So, thank you for listening. We shall speak to you next time.